Blog Talk Radio.
It's a new thing that's whipping the land when you don't know which way to go. The answer is Jesus and Elevation Radio.
God bless you. This is Elevation Radio 1, and I'm your host, Pastor Steve, the Music Man Turner. We thank you for taking the journey with us. This is the program that spotlights positive people doing positive work while serving a positive God whose name is Jesus. If you got a problem with that, then you're in the wrong station. Listen, our subject matter today is stakeholders who stand up. Stakeholders who stand up, come out the cleft of the rock and fight. Yeah, get out to your comfort zone and fight. This program is in honor of God and the memory of my lovely wife, First Lady Leora Queen Turner. Then listen, the Lord created Sampson, the strongest man who ever lived, to be a deliverer for the nation of Israel. He was prophesied for this role to fight oppression by tyrants. After the Philistines killed his father-in-law and his wife because Sampson burned out their vineyards, grain, and olive groves, they lost a lot of money. They asked who did this and marked him for death. Samson attacked them again and caused a great slaughter. Judges chapter 15, verse 8 says, he went down and dwelt in the cleft of the rock of Etam. The cleft is a hiding place or a place of refuge where we cannot stay in comfort. We must come out, for our greatest victories are yet ahead of us. And so, speaking of victorious deliverers, I'm going to talk today to a great activist, personal friend, and the professor of politics. I call her Rhonda Wimbush. How are you today?
Hi, Pastor Steve. How are you?
Oh, I'm blessed. Glad to have you on this program, classing up the place.
I appreciate you. Let me just say this. I appreciate you and continuing to have your voice out in the community.
Oh, well, bless the Lord. All right. And so for those who don't know, who is Rhonda Wimbush?
Well, I'm a Baltimore girl. I was born in Northwest Baltimore, live in Northwest Baltimore, and I work all over the city as a real estate broker.
Uh-huh.
And I work all over the city as an advocate for the disabled, for the vulnerable, which are our seniors, people with impairments that are ignored and overlooked.
Mm. Why would anybody want to overlook? Huh?
I said, and I'm a mother. Okay, I'm a mother.
Oh, okay. That's very important.
That's a big part of. Yeah, because that's a big part of why I do the things that I do. My daughter has a disability. Her disability as an adult, they changed the names for politics reasons. A lot of political stuff goes on with the disabled, but she's considered IDD, which is intellectual developmental disability, which a new law was passed last year in 2022 that allows people with intellectual disabilities to come out in our community and live independently. So you're going to see people, you're going to see people leaving group homes, wanting their own homes, and they can hire support staff and transportation so they can self-direct their own care. I was a big advocate for fighting for that bill with some people down in Dorchester County.
All righty. That's what I know you best as a champion of those who can't speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So you
got
a new. Mm-hmm. Well, as quiet as it's kept, I have my own disabilities here. I thought I was perfect for a while until my mother died, and then I had to go see somebody, and then they said, "You have issues, Pastor." I'm like, "What kind of issues do I have?" He said, "You have ADHD." What? Then I discovered that most pastors do have ADHD and all that. So, but we didn't come to talk about.
Well, I think it's something that's very common. I think ADHD is very common all over. My ex is, when he was in medical school, he realized he was ADHD. He was diagnosed in medical school, and he had to learn how to, he was like having a hard time with just categorizing things and organizing things, and so I think that is one of the diagnoses that are associated with children in school-age children diagnosed with ADHD. A lot of times people put their children on medication, but a lot of people, issues can be resolved with diet. But when people with everything can be controlled with diet for the most part. But when they become adults, when that person with that disability becomes an adult, then the world treats you a little differently. The attention is focused when you're a child in an education system. But once you become an adult and you're out here in the world, you've got to figure out how to navigate.
I'm helping you. I'm helping your cause today. I didn't get diagnosed with ADHD and PTSD and other things until I was 45.
Yeah. It happens. It happens, and when it does happen, getting the right therapy is what and that's unfortunately a hard task to find a good therapist, but there's someone who can work on those organizational skills on how to stay focused. Now, I've never seen you not be focused. I called you and was like, now, what did you send me? What do I need to do? Maybe I'm ADHD. I'm not sure.
Most of the great orators and preachers are. You're all right.
But I know that sometimes that I've got to stop and get that direction together and say, wait a minute, what am I working on, because other things start coming into play when, But anyway, the disabled world is invisible. Baltimore City is the focus of the stakeholders' mission. My Jessica Morgan is the community connector. She goes out, she talks to people, she knocks on doors. I'm always reading policy. You know that, Pastor Steve. I'm always looking at policy because I don't believe, especially in our black community, we're so beholden to the politicians that we don't really look at what that word really is, politician. The politicians mean somebody that creates policy. So we should be looking at the policy that's changing all around us and at the same time excluding us.
Actually, yes. The most politicians are not smart enough to actually write their own policy. They have to get the aides to do it. Little college graduates. They do it.
Even if they get their aides to do it, they're in that position to sponsor it and co-sponsor it. And we should be there with our legislators saying, no, I don't want you to sponsor that bill. Or I'm not supportive of that bill, but they no longer come back to their districts and ask for permission from the voters as they used to do.
How long has that been?
They came back. When I was growing up, I know. You said that's been a long time.
Wow. Because they're arrogant today.
Listen, when I came back to Baltimore, I think I came back to Baltimore. I came back to Baltimore in 2002. I've been gone for 12 years. I lived in Atlanta for 12 years. Came back to Baltimore for medical care for my daughter and realized it was a different city. When I came back to Baltimore, it is what it is now. Because before when I left, it was communities coming together. If the politicians wanted something and the communities didn't want it, it wasn't done. It didn't happen. Now they find the people in the community that they can manipulate. Most of the politicians have selected the community president. In the 6th district, anyway.
Wait a minute, say that again?
Politicians have selected the community presidents.
Sellout. I'm sorry. Okay, no problem.
And you know what? I don't even know. That's a term that's used so loosely. I don't know if even that's the term, or just call them unconscionable people, How can you sleep at night while you put your name down as community president, but yet you do everything you can to keep information away from that community?
They're getting paid. Benjamins.
But how much? $500 seemed to be the going rate. $500 seemed to be the going. That seemed to be the going.
That's peanuts. My God.
Well, that's what somebody told me the Korean was going to give me for me not talking about him not paying property tax at Edgewood Liquors. Well, he can give you $500 for your nonprofit. I could blow $500 eating dinner out.
Yeah, that's right. I could blow it up by a couple.
I need a whole lot more than $500 to look the other way. A lot more. So, can we talk about what we met about the other week?
We can. Listen, this is your program.
BCCC.
This is your program.
What do you want to talk about? Because
come on,
I'm not
following local. I can't stand them. Let me talk about the bike poles. We'll talk about the bike poles that your mayor has authorized and sold the city out with. When I first almost hit one going down Green Spring, I'm like, what in the heck? What dummy authorized this? That's exactly what I said. I almost killed myself actually coming down Hilton on Sunday going to church. Unaligned bike poles. I can tell you that
they're very, very dangerous to the disabled community. Aggravating to all, but it's very dangerous to the disabled community. And 32 years ago, the American Disabilities Act was passed and put into law. But for some reason, this city here doesn't seem to want to acknowledge the disabled population. See, we can say, when you do your surveys, talking to Baltimore City's Department of Transportation, you leave black people out. But the problem with that is black people aren't written into the law. Even though we have black leaderships, nowhere in any law can you find anything about discriminating against black Americans. You will see minorities. But you won't. Our black politicians never called out the attacks on black Americans the way Jewish people have called out the attacks on Jewish people. Just didn't happen. It just didn't happen. And to this day, in 2023, you cannot see anywhere where it says it's against the law to discriminate against black Americans.
Yeah, that's a classic racist move. Yeah, that's a classic racist move.
But we're not. But you can't. I mean, at some point, can we keep blaming the white man when everybody that I look at in Baltimore City is black? The leadership that I see in my city is black. So when we got extra speed cameras on Liberty Heights, Northwest Baltimore. And my state senator, my city council person, my delegates, my mayor, my city council president are all black, but yet the white man, Zeke,
What are their names? I'd like to know.
The senator is Jill Carter. So right now in my community, in the Ashburton community, we have two state senators, Jill Carter and Antonio Hayes.
Who?
The speed cameras come. Senator Antonio Hayes, 40th District.
Okay.
40th District. He's a big advocate for the speed cameras. As a matter of fact, Al, this this fraternity he belongs to, it seems like they're so destructive to the black community. The Kappas, they seem to be so destructive. And what they're responsible for North Avenue. Have you ridden down North Avenue?
Yes, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, Antonio Hayes, Marlon Ampry, Melissa Wells, they're responsible for North Avenue being approved and no community outreach in the 40th district. None.
Wow.
And they wanted to run on that.
Did you say Sharon Green Middleton was a part of this?
She's the 6th district, so you've got the cameras on the 6th district side. So on Liberty Heights, you got cameras on the 6th district and the 7th district side, 41st and the 40th, because we split between two. And it is really drastically car insurance. Because they saturated our community with it. So now we have Zeke Cohen, who's going to run for city council president against Nick Mosby, right?
Lord, help us today. Go ahead.
Zeke Cohen doesn't have any speed cameras in his district because he look out for his folk. Okay? Wow, black people ain't looking out for us. There's not that many speed cameras on the Jewish side of Northern Parkway in the 5th district because Yitzi Slicer look out for his folk. Why our folk ain't looking out for us?
Isn't Sandy Rosenberg over there somewhere?
I'm just saying. He's in the 41st district. He's the delegate of the 41st district. But he's responsive. He's responsive for his base, which is the Jewish base. Even though black folk always... Sandy Rosenberg been in office 40 years.
Doing what?
40.
Can you name 5 things he's done for black people?
Well, yes, I can. And including money, the grant funding that I received for Dofield Avenue. It was him. When I said to him, we're supposed to be getting that money, he was like, oh, really? And it was the black person blocking us from getting the money, Lisa Gladden. And Sandy said, well, no, we need to look at that. So, yes, and also he's giving bond money to Wayland Baptist Church. He got them to screw us a lot to get the money. So, I guess the term sellout, Lawrence Campbell up in Wayland, it's like Linda Batts over here with the park. They find their black people that they can throw a couple of dollars at, and then all of a sudden they turn on their own community. As if no one is going to know.
It's been running since slavery.
It's the same philosophy used over and over and over again. The same philosophy. And amazingly, the black communities are still so beholden to the politicians. We met that Saturday about the bike lanes, right?
Come on with it.
Steve on the Saturday. By that Monday, 48 hours later,
48.
The strategy that we had for the bike lanes was given to a politician.
Say no. Say it ain't so.
Say what name? The politician?
I said, say it ain't so that somebody within the ranks had sold you out.
48 hours. And I'm not even going to use the term sold out. I don't know if that's the term. I think the term is, I remember Dick Gregory said something a long time ago. I heard him say that the reason that black people dress the loudest is because they want to be seen. Because they're so used to being overlooked and ignored that they want to be seen.
Want to feel
and
important.
that's how I feel about this community thing that's happening. That person, because you were there, we said this information was not going to leave the room, right?
That's what it was said.
We were going to reconnect the weekend before the bike lane event that the city was holding. Now they know already. They already know. They know it all. But it was just, we had a small group of people for strategy. That's all, strategy. I mean, you can't even strategize with a small group of people without someone wanting to be seen. And I think it's more that than selling out. Be seen. I know that happened when I got the money for Dofield Avenue, and I created a board and made Patrick Henderson the president. He wanted to be seen. He wanted to be noticed. He wanted the white man to pat him on the head and say, "Oh, good, Patrick. You did such a good job." That was important to him. When I wanted to take that $700,000 and make a difference, that when we rode through that block, we could say there's been some improvements here, you know? And maybe people wouldn't mind going to the post office in their neighborhood or going to the grocery store in their neighborhood. They wouldn't keep riding past their neighborhood and go to another neighborhood, you know? That was my thought process when I applied for the grant. But Patrick wanted to be seen. He wanted somebody to pat him on his head. That was important, you know?
It's the crab mentality of this particular area, because the same scenario happens with pastors in the city. If you come up with an idea that God gives you that they didn't come up with, they'll fight you on it just to steal the credit and ideas.
Yeah, I think that's the norm.
Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I did know the pastors, but I do see it happening with organizations, just like when I did property tax appeals. No one else was talking about property tax appeals. Now, even tonight, the League of Women Voters are talking about it. They're down at the Real News Network with UMBC. They've been down there since 5:30. Tax broke. I got an invitation. So when I was talking about property tax appeals, people were like, "Oh, we'll fill out the form." Well, okay, they filled out the form, and you make the forms now available in the library. And then I think Coy McCrae put something in his legislation with the 45th district about it. I don't know how it does, but what it doesn't do is tell you how to be successful at it. And that's what Rhonda Wimbush is successful at, reducing property tax.
Oh, yeah.
Reducing the property tax assessment. I'm successful at that. Anybody can fill out a form. Oh, come pick up the form. But there has to be documentation attached to the form to win the argument as to why your assessment should be lessened. That's what they don't do. I have it. So when I contacted our legislators and said, we should do something about this property tax, we realized this. There's nothing in our legislation to say why we pay property tax. They asked me, instead of saying, oh, we need to say why our residents specifically pay for taxes. So we pay for property taxes, but it doesn't say for trash pickup. It doesn't say for tree trimming. It doesn't say those things that we needed to say. But instead, they wanted me to send my PowerPoint to them that I sent to the state in order to reduce the taxes. And I was like, that's a hell no.
Alrighty. Well, that's how they govern, because they want to get your ideas. They want to get your ideas.
Right. That's what right. So you want me to give you my work and hand it over to you. So I just let everybody talk about property tax appeals, but we're doing them. We're actually reducing the assessment amount, because there's a lot of documentation and a lot of comparison that you need to do in the real estate market in order to show that the formula that they have for your property is not the right formula.
I like that. There should be one of you in every neighborhood. The stakeholders who stand up. So we were talking about, I heard two things in the meeting which I didn't like. One is these bike poles, which I can't stand. This is not a race course. I'm not an Indy 500. I don't need to be trying to dodge.
You mean the poles that You mean the poles that are just the white ones that are just sticking up?
The ones that are scattered throughout unexpectedly through Garrison Boulevard, through Green Spring Avenue, through Hilton.
Lawrence Campbell requested those on Garrison Boulevard.
I say put them all in a white neighborhood. Bikemore is, when I researched it, it's predominantly a white organization that doesn't live in the black neighborhoods that they've polluted our communities with. Put them all there where they live at. And so I say that the street is too narrow now. Bikes shouldn't be on the street anyway. Get them out of the street. Just stick them over in the Roland Park and all those areas. And if the mayor had kept his mind on trying to learn how to do his job instead of trying to get paid, we'd be all right. That's my opinion. So what are we going to do about it?
Pastor Steve.
Yeah, you still there?
I'm sorry. I left you for a minute. I lost you for a minute. I apologize.
Okay. No, I said now that the bike poles have been, I don't think that, did anybody ever ask you if you wanted bike poles in your community?
No, because it's not for the people that live in the community now. It's for the people that will live in the community.
Oh. Okay, so they must be planning to get rid of the blacks who own homes, the seniors, because that's the other thing I heard, which I didn't like.
Absolutely.
They were seen as being harassed about selling their homes.
Well, with gentrification is not just changing the demographic of a community. Gentrification is a formula. So the neighborhood that I live in right now was experiencing gentrification. When I moved in this community 17 years ago, it was pristine lawns. Everybody kept up their property. You know, it was, you know, active and engaging for the most part. But it was also political, more political than it was community, in my opinion. 17 years ago, I stood up in a meeting and said, I see signs of gentrification, and I was told to sit down and shut up. Well, I've continued to say I see signs of gentrification because when your water bill is higher,
you got to hold on a second.
When
you got to stop causing trouble, Rhonda. Don't you know you can't speak out?
Right. And the person who told me to sit down and shut up was Sean Tarrant at the time. He was the Ashburton Community President running for delegate. He won the seat in the 40th district. When he ran again, he had no support, no campaign money, and he stole money from his wife's retirement.
Allegedly.
No, that's factual.
Okay, all right.
It was written in the paper, and she divorced him, and I guess not to go to jail, he had to sign the house over to her, whatever. Now he's remarried to somebody else living in North Carolina, probably ruining their neighborhood. But this is who the community supported. They supported a man. They supported a man that did not want to look at the city plan for his neighborhood. They supported a man that wasn't interested in what the Department of Transportation had in their plan or the Department of Public Works had in their plan. We dealing with a 5-year plan in Ashburton right now with the streets torn up. Why are we just noticing it when we can't drive down our streets or when our streets are blocked in? This is a 5-year plan. This is a political neighborhood with all these politicians, but yet we didn't know about the 5-year plan for our neighborhood.
Didn't Frank Conway live down there?
On Hilton and Liberty Heights.
Yeah. You got judges. You got Frank Conway. You got his
Frank
daughter.
Frank Conway is passed on. He passed away.
I know, but he was good. Then you had his
daughter. When he was here, he tried to be involved. You know.
Yeah. Did he pass that down to his daughter and his son?
Well, His son is the delegate in the 40th district. He's
Frank
the one
Conway
that
Jr.
just sponsored Ivan. He just sponsored Ivan Baker's bill.
Okay.
Which, I supported Mr. Bates, but good Lord, that bill was a waste of time.
Why did you say that?
Because first it's a gun charge, right?
Behave yourself now.
With a certain age group, from 18 to 21 or whatever, you got 5 years. From 21 to whatever, you got 3 years. It's all a misdemeanor. If somebody wants to take a gun and kill somebody, they are not going to consider a bill that between 3 and 5 years, oh, I'm not going to kill him because I might get 2 more years. It's silly. It was a whole lot of nothing made about something that was silly. A person with a gun, and this is a misdemeanor.
So that adds to his folklore. Huh? Maybe it adds to his image or something.
Well, he was saying there was no consistency. Okay, fine. And that's fine. There's no consistency with how many years a minor gets but the thing is, if somebody has an intent to kill and harm, different does it make whether it's 2 or 3 years more time? Most of the time they're looking at life, right?
Yeah. Life with or without parole.
Well, in Baltimore City, it's with parole. In Baltimore City, you get life, you out in 5.
what did all
you get life.
We're getting off the subject here, but what did Mackenzie Frost or the Allegra, whatever her name is, say? You come to Baltimore, according to the percentages, you can get away with murder.
Did she say that?
That's what she said.
I missed it.
Oh yeah. You're down 600 police. You got basically city council don't know what they're doing. You got a mayor who's just brain dead.
You have a mayor and a police commissioner, and keep calling people cowards.
Yeah, you're not a man. You're not a man. Well, more man you are, buddy. I walked the street.
I mean, but I never thought I would live in Baltimore City and not leave my house at night. I never thought that would be me. That is who I am now. That is who I am now. I don't want to leave my house. I don't want to leave my house at night, and I am so cautious when I come home at night. If I happen to, which is very rare. Yeah. But I never felt that way before. I was like, I'm in Baltimore City. I don't walk in fear. That's how I felt, right? Oh, that's changed.
I don't walk in fear either, but I will say that death is on my mind because I don't know, will I leave out? Will I make it back? Thanks to the the
it's like even with the carjackers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Can't go to the gas station without looking around. My God.
Right.
They have. It seems like.
Whether.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, you're the guest. Okay. That's my great respect for you, Rhonda. The situation is, I said on his programs some time ago that I believe that Brandon Scott's overall mission was to destroy the city, and he's doing a wonderful job of it.
Okay, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that.
All right, let's get into it.
I don't believe, excuse me, I don't believe he had enough experience as far as business, as far as the Baltimore City agencies. He doesn't understand his agencies. That's why they're failing. You're a failed mayor if you don't understand your agencies, because your constituents count on the agencies to operate, and he doesn't know what they're supposed to be doing. So therefore, he doesn't know what they don't do. That's his number one problem. It's in my opinion. It's not for him to destroy the city. He figured out how to win an election. If you're going to run a citywide election.
Well, hold on a second. We got a phone call here. All right. Welcome to Elevation Radio 1. How can I help you? Hello. You're live on air. Yeah, from time to time we have people who just don't want to talk. They just want to listen to what's going on. So I say because he is so inept and didn't stay as city council president to learn his job, he was at the bottom. I thought he was at the bottom behind Jack Young, and then all of a sudden, over the weekend, he somehow came out on top. I think I see a formula
came
there.
Up on top of what? I missed that. What happened over the weekend? I missed it.
He was in the polls. He was behind Jack Young, and suddenly over the weekend of that time frame, he came up on top. And I wondered, how did he do that? But then I saw something at the NAACP election that made more sense, and that was that Elder C.D. Witherspoon had actually won the election, but there were electioneering infractions. You had ASME, labor union folks coming into the back door of the location where they weren't supposed to come in. They're trying to take people in the bathroom and trying to change their vote. They talked to folks on the line, and I understand from someone that they did the same thing at the polls, which they're supposed to be flagged and violated and locked up. But no, they were allowed to do that because Sharon Green Middleton is married to the president of ASME.
Right. I mean, listen,
so I saw it with my own.
Right. Listen, one thing about Baltimore City is no one wants to fix anything because it's intended to be crooked. That's why people like me and you and Jessica, or they come after us. I mean, there's story after story. I mean, I know someone on the east side, and she was a vice principal of the school working over there in Broadway East. They put handcuffs on her for speaking up at a community meeting, and took her down to the precinct, because they want to shut you up because it's intended to be crooked. And that's what's going to happen with the bike lanes, to get back to the bike lanes. It's going to be about how we're going to shut this community up, because I believe they already submitted the grant with false survey documentation. I don't have any proof of it. That's not my job to get the proof. We have civil rights organizations that should be speaking on these issues. We have people, somebody's getting a paycheck to speak on the issues of not having a diverse, equitable, inclusive, accessible survey. There are agencies that should be handling this. And that's
where's the NAACP? Where's the NAACP? I'm talking on the level of our state. I'm talking on the level of our federal government. I'm not talking local. I'm not talking local NAACP, because this, I said it's heavy. We have the caller that called it again originally is back on the line. You are live on air, sir, or ma'am. All right. Hello, you're live on radio. Let me make sure I click them on. Okay. Well, we're going to continue. I guess they're just hanging on. This happens occasionally. As you were saying, that agencies are not doing their job?
Well, they're not doing their job because we're not reporting it. And the reason that we're not reporting it is because we've become numb. And that was the plan in the 6th district. I was talking to someone who was going to run for the 6th district, and I said to her, Sharon Middleton is stronger than she's ever been. And she's stronger than she's ever been because she focused on dumbing down a neighborhood. Every neighborhood in the 6th district, with the exception of Roland Park and Windsor Hills, she had a hand in selecting the community president. Or even getting rid of some of the community associations like East Arlington, not wanting them to have a community association.
And this is all orchestrated stuff. There was I can't think of the woman's name. She was a white lady that was down City Hall. If I keep talking, it'll come back to me. But she wanted me to, when I was a pastor over on Liberty Heights, she wanted me to go over there and join the association with Bilal Ali. I said, well, what happened to Preston, I can't think of his name, Washington or something like that.
Yeah,
He's been replaced. Yeah, he's been replaced. And I'm like, Bilal Ali was a music producer when he came to town. And he positioned himself to win that presidency and then take Joe Carter's seat. And I almost had her name, but she wanted me to. He became a delegate for a short period of time. Yeah, should have been no time because he cheated and had the. I'm gonna say it. He had the answers, like someone said, on his phone when he was actually sitting there. And when they asked the two ladies from, I don't know how they picked them, who they wanted to be before the man could actually finish saying what he said Bilal Ali. And somebody yelled out, "It's been rigged." So welcome to Baltimore.
Was that the Central State Committee? It was,
yeah, they were at the fancy
Bilal was on the Central. I think he was on the State Central Committee.
And so at the golf course, because they moved up everybody's time, tried to throw you off, and then I think Mary Pat Clark was on the forum, about 4 or 5 people there doing the interview, and I was surprised she actually knew me. And she says, "Hey, Pastor Turner, how you doing?" I'm like, "Okay." And then when she finished asking me questions about the racetrack, which that was important, keeping the racetrack open and blah blah blah. And so I gave the appropriate answer at the time, and so when she said, "Okay, that ends the interview session." I said, "Is that it? I was just getting started. Come on, bring up some more stuff." People start laughing. I'm like, "This can't be it." And so they speeded through everybody else, and then they forgot about Bilal Ali, and he was looking at his phone, getting the answers, because that's how they texted to him. Cheating niggas. Sorry, but nothing is done fairly. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's just, we don't look at, like, for example, this is a sign of gentrification. I want to go back to the gentrification and the bike lanes, because all of that plays a part. Higher water bills, more speed cameras, all of that has to do with the squeeze out. Has to do with people getting frustrated. So right now there is a vacant commercial building on Liberty and Garrison, which was the Rite Aid, remember?
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Right across from Walgreens?
Yeah.
Well, there's been a permit submitted for another dollar store. A Dollar Tree.
We don't need another dollar store.
Exactly, and that indicates you're in the hood. That is what that does, and that's a negative economic development. So we have the Baltimore Development Corp should be able to speak on our behalf. We have city planning, who doesn't give a damn about Northwest Baltimore. They just
keep
Lawrence Campbell over in Wayland.
Hold on a second. Christian program. Gotcha. Okay. You may continue now, minus the cuss words. Go ahead.
So they have, they just feed Wayland Baptist, give them some bond money, give them some quiet money. They're the ones that put up the sticks on Garrison Boulevard. Wasn't the white man, that was Lawrence Campbell over in Wayland. Wayland CDC
so they purchased the church.
Wanted that.
The pastor. So the pastor's being bought off.
No. Oh, the pastors, listen, the black churches are not who they were during the civil rights movement. We can just forget that. They go in there, what grant money you need, what you this. You know, the pastors don't live in the community.
Nope.
They don't live in the community, and they only care about the money coming into their church. So they get grant money. Oh, here's a grant, Pastor so-and-so. We can help you fill it out, keep everybody quiet, and that's how they flow in Baltimore City. The churches are doing fine.
Yeah,
even the ones that's empty.
Oh, well, they're lied to the position.
Even the ones that's empty, they doing just fine. When we were coming together about the bike lanes, one of the people in the room said, we need to get with the black ministers. I said, for what? They don't even do a chicken dinner no more. They just got their hand out, okay? They not even trying to do bake sales no more to raise their own money. They just want the handout from the government. That's it.
You know, I got to say this. That when I went down to City Hall, when Catherine Pugh was the mayor and they had the pastoral breakfast, I couldn't get, for the 3 years we did Faith Walk at Liberty Heights, I couldn't get 14 pastors to be on 14 corners. But she got probably 50-some pastors come out early in the morning wearing suits and ties and coming to eat the breakfast that they fixed there. And she wanted the after-school money that she wanted them to replace the money. And I would have asked her, that's why she didn't let me in, what did you do with the money you had?
Well, we all figured that out, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, we all know she had a lot of money, and nobody could really account for it. But that's okay. Listen, when you were talking about election and you're talking about how did Brandon win, listen, one thing about the state of Maryland, especially when you're dealing with Baltimore City, there's no election oversight. There is none. All of the money that she had in her account, that wasn't what she went to jail for. She went to jail for some bullshiggity, for not filing something on her taxes. She didn't go. What did she go to jail for? Nobody even knows. What did she go to jail for? What, writing some books with some misspelled words? What did she go to jail for? Do you know what she went to jail for?
Well, allegedly,
they charged her.
Go
ahead. What did she go to jail for?
Well, I thought she was actually going to jail for at least that's what they would kind of talk about, that she had obscured money from the books that she didn't write.
Well, I think she wrote the book. They didn't say, you're saying she didn't write the book?
No, because she got the school system to get some of the books, and then the University of Maryland, I think those
but that's not what she went to jail for. So you go to jail now for writing books?
Well,
most people don't realize what she went to jail for.
Well, let us know.
Most people don't realize what she went to jail for.
What'd she go to jail for?
Because they needed to move her out the way. Because she wasn't on board with somebody's plan and they had something to go through. The reason that they said she went to jail was because she got the money from the books, but she didn't pay taxes on it. Some bullshiggity. The same thing like Donald Trump. You say all this stuff about Donald Trump, but now you want to indict him, paying off a woman that he had sex with? That's been happening since the beginning of the time, ain't it?
But the goal is,
and that's not even.
The goal is he cannot ascend to the highest hills again, because this time he may be successful. You can't have a treasonous get back in the White House.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is that then come up with something else. If it was treason, come on. For paying off a hooker? For paying off a hooker? Men been paying off hookers since the beginning of time.
Oh, my goodness.
Okay. What are y'all talking? I couldn't believe it. I said, that's what y'all indicted him on? I'm listening. Like, wait a minute. I'm thinking that they can come up with something.
34 felonies. But that's one of them.
For paying off a hooker. man who charging them probably paid off a hooker too. Okay. If you didn't pay off a hooker, you paid off your side piece. Come on, y'all. It's more than this.
You can't talk about the side piece now.
Well, I mean, it's all payment.
No, I'm just messing. Let's get back to these bank polls.
You have to keep the side piece quiet.
That's a whole other show.
It's a whole other show. But it's all a payoff. But I want to come back to the bike lanes. I want to come back to not just the bike lanes, the speed cameras, no transportation studies, deceitful and deceptive surveys for the bike lanes because they're not inclusive. They're not inclusive. They're not equitable. They show no diversity, and they haven't been accessible to the disabled community. I was on the call for the survey for the Northwest Bike Lane, and you had to have, I wasn't able to do the survey because I didn't know how to work the QR code. What if I was blind, Pastor Steve?
Oh, I don't care.
How would I? But I'm saying,
That's right.
The law says they have to care. But the law says they have to care. And that's why I'm talking about the law.
Yeah, but these are lawbreakers.
This is the American Disabilities Act. This isn't no new law. This isn't a city law. This is federal. You have to follow the American Disabilities Act, and everyone has to have access. The call wasn't the call wasn't relayed. That's the deaf people. You have to have access to everyone.
I understand. You remind me of the conversation I had with someone from DOJ. I said, I understand what you're saying about consent decrees, but you've never met anything like the people here, I'm talking about the politicians in this city. They are operating in an alternative universe. And when I finally talked to the man again, he said, you were absolutely correct. These people are crazy. Trying to tell the judge, do we have to stay with the consent decree for this long? No, we're not going to change it. For you, they don't care about laws. They care about themselves.
Right.
Only federal indictments will serve this purpose. Get it?
Well, I'm just hoping that I'm not hoping. I'm just expecting. I'm expecting them to rise up. Now it's being brought to their attention about who they've left off of the surveys, about what they've done on North Avenue. North Avenue, where is the survey for North Avenue? They took people's parking spaces. I have a client who's 81 years old. The space in front of his house is gone. He got a ticket for bringing groceries in his house. He's 81. That's a violation of the American Disabilities Act. And I believe that he probably would be considered legally blind. I'm not sure. Something is going on. But he has a disability.
Are there
and I
any,
don't know what it is because it's against the law to ask people.
Okay. Well, are there any associations that actually can help out this people who are disabled like this from being run over by the city government?
Yeah, mine. The stakeholders mission. Me.
Okay, well,
and the team that I'm building, and we're looking to partner with other, with the blind and the deaf and the Disabled Law Center. We need to partner with people that's talking about disability rights because I don't think that they're really understanding how many people with intellectual disabilities are getting ready to move into our community. They're getting ready to move in our community, and there's legislation on the floor, on the city council floor, to reduce parking. That's Ron Dorsey's bill 220285. So if you reduce parking in our what you saying?
What's wrong with this dude, Ryan Dorsey?
Well, I considered him a racist. I do. But I just And he's one of those people who have no regard for anyone else but himself. So I kind of feel like he's not just a racist, but a narcissist as well. I've been knowing Ryan when he was running for office. I had a property on the market in his district, and he reached out to me. And we talked, and I said, well, okay, you might be a good person. Because part of Northwood is his district, a small part of it near the engineering building on Up Perrin Parkway. That's his district. And it goes to Harford Road. But he gets money from, he's had a previous addiction, and he gets money from the substance abuse community to put methadone places and stuff, right? And he gets money from the bike lane people, from Bike More and Rails and Trails. And, yeah. So he just feels like the city would be a lot better if a lot less people drove cars. A law was just passed for self-directing, which is going to bring more people into the city that need transportation because they're going to need their services to deal with their disability, which are vans to pick them up, which is staff to come in and help them. All of those things in here, he's trying to reduce parking.
And that makes absolutely no sense if you're. On the one hand, this city is the leadership is very bipolar. You want to frustrate people so they can leave, but then you want to bring other folks in.
Right. Well, they want to reduce the field. They want to make the city smaller, but they want to make the city smaller in a sense of let's fund everything in this downtown zip code, 21201, 21202. Let's fund these zip codes, 21230. 21231. Certain zip codes they want to fund to make the city smaller, and then just leave the outskirts to fend for themselves. That's what happened in Chicago.
Well, that's not a real mayor.
When people look at Chicago,
that's not a real mayor. That's not a real mayor who would allow.
I don't really think the mayor understands. I don't think the mayor even understands the smart city plan. I don't think he understands it himself. The smart city plan is the master plan for the city.
You're absolutely correct, because when I had him on his program before he became mayor, I asked him about the master plan for Northwest, and he said, "What was that?" I said, "What is it?" "Sir, that's the master plan." He said, "Where'd you get that from?" "Off your website." It said the City of Baltimore. Oh my God! I mean, are you that dumb? Wow. Yeah. And so it's unacceptable. Let me jerk my head up a little bit. Okay. Maybe we understand it. Do you understand? Why does he do that anyway? You don't know. So what can we do about the bike holes?
You said the bike holes. Well, this is what needs to happen. First of all, there needs to be surveys. There needs to be transportation studies.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to be equitable and diverse and inclusive and accessible to everyone. Because if everybody lives here, everyone should have a say-so in what's happening.
Mm-hmm. And there are no warning signs that the bike poles you're going to come up on one, which is very dangerous.
Well, this is the thing. The thing is, things are happening right now that shouldn't have happened. But from this point on, and maybe we can, I don't know, go back and redo some things once we find out where did your documentation come, because everything should have some data. If you're dealing with the roads, when a turn lane like on Green Spring and Cold Spring is put there, someone did a study to say this turn lane was necessary. Where's their study to say it wasn't? Their study to say a bike lane was more feasible. There's
and why do you have to have
killed right there on that? You know, people have been killed on that intersection of Green Spring. When they first put the bike lane on Green Spring and Cold Spring, people died. I believe it was 2 fatalities right there, and then I think at least 8 fatalities on North Avenue.
Do you have that documentation or those reports?
I know the people died. I followed the news stories. But when I'm trying to find out, give me the give me the reports. I think it must have to come from, because I didn't get a response on the Public Information Act. So I guess it's going to have to be filed federally to say, look at what happened. Where's the transportation study? Where are the surveys that you did on the safety matters? First, of North Avenue, which North Avenue is the emergency exit out of the city. Where's your study? This says that this should have been done. This should be federal.
Oh, yeah. And do you need any other signatures to help you with that?
Well, we're not going signatures. We're going, we did the bike lane study already for Northwest. But, so one of the big things is when you come down Wabash, I don't know if you ever noticed this or not, where they want to put the bike lane right at Wabash, there's no sidewalk there from almost the subway all the way down to Cold Spring.
Mm-hmm.
How are you talking about a bike lane when people can't even walk there? They can't have a walker or a wheelchair or a cane or anything because there's no sidewalk. The Department of Transportation doesn't want to talk about that.
Are they getting paid for every pole? Are they getting paid for every pole they put up there?
Those are grants called traffic calming.
Traffic who?
They call it traffic calming.
Traffic calming?
Those are grants. They're grants without studies.
Like traffic death.
Traffic calming.
This is not.
Yes.
It's not like Indy 500 where you're doing some kind of like a slalom skiing and all that with the poles. This is not. These are steel poles. Okay, I don't see it.
Well, actually, and there's nothing in the law that says you can't take them up. So whichever ones you don't like, just take them up. Nothing says, I searched it, nothing says you can't take them up.
Give me a hacksaw.
You don't need it. Somebody just knocked them down. Somebody just took them right off on Cold Spring and Green Spring. They just knocked them right down like, that's enough. We tired of these.
And that's a viable solution. I didn't say do it, but I'm saying if you feel necessary that you need to do that, then since there's nothing in the books about it, then hey, to arms.
I know over in the 45th district there's Walther. Like if I miss my turn on Walther Boulevard and have to make a U-turn, those sticks are so close over there that you can't even turn. I don't want us to become them. I don't want us to become them. It's bad enough that they had those sticks on those, as you call them, those sticks on Hilton Street. Hopefully, when they finish all of the work that they're doing, they won't put them back up because there were accidents there because of the sticks.
Yeah, there's a lot of traffic on Hilton. You don't need that mess. That's what I call it. Mess.
No, but Senator Antonio Hayes lives on Hilton, and the Ashburton community president, who's his fraternity brother, lives on Hilton, and the man who put all of that stuff up there, they all Kappas. The guy with the Department of Transportation, his last name is Haynes. He's a Kappa. He's the one. He is the sole decision maker for this cameras. He's a black man.
Oh, Lord.
Yes.
I need to find out.
Now, anybody that...
What do you look like? So
do you ever ride on Boston Street?
No.
Do you ever ride on Boston Street? Well, Boston Street is down in District 1, Canton. It's like a highway in the city. They don't have no speed cameras down there.
Oh, well, you know why? Because the good old Italians.
No, that's not Italian.
It's not Italian on Boston?
They don't have none in Little Italy. Not on Boston Street. Not on Boston Street. Down there, when you go down Boston Street and you get ready to go past the shopping with DSW and all of the stores down there, nice little shopping area.
Oh, way down there when they have the new
street.
Yeah.
And there's no speed cameras. That's what they be. You don't have any speed cameras on Boston Street.
Because the good white folks down there have to get where they got to go. Because the good white folks have to get where they got to go. Because the good white folks have to get where they have to go.
Well, I think it's about us I think it's about us being beholden to the politicians. You need politicians to sign off on this. It's us being beholden to the politicians. The politicians want a certain amount of speed camera money to go into the general fund, and they're getting it from the black people, or they're getting it from the poor people. 200% or less of the poverty rate are, I'm not going to just say black people, because you got the white folk on the south side, they got a lot of speed cameras. When you down on Baltimore Street and Lombard down there, they got a lot of speed cameras down there. Most of them people down there walking on bikes. They got speed cameras down there. So I think that falls like under the 9th district. John Bullock, he has a lot of speed cameras in his district. But, but them white people down there, it's not that many white people down in council, and most of them don't have a lot of speed cameras. But the black politicians do. Black politicians, let them put speed cameras in the black community. And I don't care who wants to challenge it. Show me different. Show me different. Very beholden to the politicians. I don't want this, whatever. The people that you saying you don't want it for, they the ones signed off on it.
Well, they're not going to, when they hear this, they're not going to like it. When is the meeting for the DOT?
It's the 18th, April the 18th at Forest Park High School. I'll send you the flyer. I think it's 6 p.m. So this is a DOT meeting. I'm going to be present. The stakeholders' mission is standing alone. We're not in alliance with anyone, but we are ringing the bell and letting it be heard and known that these surveys that were done were not diverse. There was no equity, there was no inclusiveness, and it was not accessible to the disabled community. That's the alarm that I'm sounding. And that's a violation of the law.
Federal violation.
That's a violation of the law.
Mm-hmm. All righty.
Okay.
So
maybe we can get rid of the sticks. Maybe we can just get rid of the sticks or just take them up ourselves.
I like it.
I don't think we have to be. I don't think we have to be undercover at night. What are we gonna get charged with?
A poll pull-in party. I'll bring the people.
Maybe if we get charged, maybe if we get charged with removing the polls, we can say, well, where's the survey that let you put it down here? Let's see who the real criminal is.
I like your thinking.
Where's the study?
Mm-hmm. Who signed off on it?
Who signed off on it? Our black politicians signed off on it. That's who signed off on it.
Maybe have
signed off on it.
Maybe have a press conference where they can film us pulling up.
The thing about Baltimore City and where we are now, because this is not the city I grew up in. It's not even the city that I left. When I came back, like I said, it was just a different place. It was just a different place. All of a sudden, the politician was telling the community what to do. No. Wait a minute. We hire them, right? So some kind of way things got flipped, okay? Some kind of way things got flipped where we were telling them what to do, then they start telling us what to do. But it's just not the city that I grew up in. It's not the city that I grew up in.
Some of them are too young. Some of them are too arrogant, and the community hasn't demanded to be respected.
Right. And right now in the 6th district, I can't speak for all the districts because I think Northeast is very strong. East is strong. I think West and Northwest are probably the weakest, in the city. And that's because these communities have been dumbed down. They have been strategically, a community president has been selected. A community president has been given a couple of dollars and just to quiet them down, just to keep people in place.
Keep those you can't say this now, but I'll say it. Keep those nears in place so we can do what we need to do.
Well, the thing is, if we say that, and the people who are doing it are black, that's black on black crime. That don't have nothing to do with nobody else. If you had Sharon Middleton finding a community president in the Forest Park community and making sure that she gets some money to put in her bank account because of a Family Dollar or a liquor store that lets drug sales happen in front of it, who do we blame? The community president who took the job and took the money, or the city council person who lined it all up? Who do we blame?
Take them all down.
I'm just saying, but who do you blame? Now here, this person's community, she can't, you done took their dirty money, so now you can't challenge the Dollar Tree that they want to put on Liberty Heights. You can't challenge it because you already a part of their filth.
Yeah.
Lawrence Campbell, he can't challenge the Dollar Tree because he done already took money behind the scenes for the Family Dollar. So how dare you show up and say you don't want the Dollar Tree? You took money before. They know you'll take it again.
Wait a minute. Now, how many Dollar Trees? Because you got Family Dollar over there where the churches used to be off of Garrison Boulevard. Then you can put another one right across, walking distance from to Liberty Heights.
Right.
And you got one up the road.
Walking distance. So you're going to have one behind Walgreens and one in front of Walgreens.
Then you have up the street, if you get in your car and drive about 5 minutes, there's another one.
Yep.
Up there in the 50,000 block, a 5,000 block of Liberty Heights.
And then if you go the other way, 5 minutes at Mondawmin, there's another Family Dollar.
Wow.
So you have Mondawmin, you have Garrison Boulevard, and you have Liberty Heights. And then they want to put another one on Liberty Heights and Garrison with a Rite Aid. So
you got one on Belvedere.
You have.
Oh, you got Belvedere, you got Ricerstown Road.
You have one in Belvedere. You got one on Belvedere.
Ricerstown Road, the lower end. Then you've got. And then you got one up
you
from
know what? That
Plaza.
one on Belvedere, the one on Belvedere, they probably need that because of that public housing building. Well, it's a private owner now, but it was. Well, the supermarket left that was in that shopping center, remember? It used to be a supermarket right there at Belvedere in that shopping center. There really doesn't have anything over there, much of anything over there now. But,
it's a food desert.
So the Belvedere, those people, they go over there, they go to that Family Dollar and do like real grocery shopping.
And that's a shame. It's an insult. But you had Catherine Pugh, if I'm not mistaken, having investments over there at the school, where she had some woman running the school. Didn't have the degree. She claimed she was the first person that they came to get the FBI. Because all the black dignitaries were up there when they had some kind of job fair, and that's when. That guy who passed away had the Neighborhoods United school.
Oh, you talking about George?
George had the school down the street, and then up the street they had the this school, and they had the job fair there, and that's why all the politicians from downtown were up there. I guess when they had funneled money up over there, and that woman who was running it was somebody that was a friend of Catherine Pugh's or whoever, and that's the first person they came to get because she didn't have her credentials like she claimed she did. Washing the money.
Well, I know that's where they said that the books, that the Healthy Holly books was being hidden up at
yeah.
in Langston Hughes. That's what they said.
Yeah, and George had I checked his background and he had a criminal record. He shouldn't have been near a school.
Oh, well, George was, everybody needs their Negro. He was theirs, rest in peace. Yeah.
But
he had I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but sometimes when people, but sometimes when people have addiction issues, and they find out your weakness, and they know your weakness, they use their weakness to their benefit. Okay? It happens a lot.
Well,
drug addiction isn't just with the people on Garrison Boulevard. It's down in City Hall, too. It's in Annapolis, too. Okay?
It's on the judgment.
It's in the nonprofits, too.
Now, I will say this, so I don't know if I get in trouble, but every time I saw him, he was never alone. He was usually he was hemmed up in a corner talking to someone. It's always the same person.
I don't know nothing about him like that. I just know that.
Oh, I do. So matter of fact,
he wasn't the type of black person who I felt was worth my time.
Well,
I would just put it that way.
The person he was talking to is not someone that I care for, and does nothing for the community, although she's an elected official. But she whispered in his ear, and then he told me, I guess she said, that guy gives me a problem. So he semi-threatened me, because I knew him, and he said, well, she's a friend of mine, if you know what I mean. And I'm like, okay, well, what does that mean? Because I don't take threats, unless they have to be direct, because I get confused. I don't care about your friendship with her. I probably would say something to her husband about you, but because every time I look around you're hit good point.
See, okay. So
I'll drop it there.
He gone on the glory. When I rode around Langston Hughes a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, I was looking for an investment property for someone, and I ended up in the back of the building. I didn't know they were doing drugs back there or selling drugs in the back of them. It's a mess back there on the back side of the Langston Hughes.
It's a city yard or
I didn't know all
something.
that was
recycling center or something like this. What's that?
It's a tent back there and some old junkies. That's what I saw. I was like,
and that's
wow.
That's city property. It's supposed to be city property.
I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just know that when I went back there and I was like, I made the wrong turn, and I ended up in back of the building, I didn't realize that I kept driving through it and ended up on Ricerstown Road. So I was trying to make a U-turn, and I was like, what is this? Some type of an encampment or something? That's why I said it was just some tents and looked like some old junkies back there.
There's a liquor store on the corner. There's a church right next to the liquor store, and a playground or something like that.
But anyway, painted his face on the side of the building, and they acknowledge him.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who knew? Okay. Well,
so anything else you want to talk about?
The last piece is, I've given you more time, is the situation about the senior homeowners being harassed to sell their homes, is what they talked about in the stakeholders meeting also. Yes.
So when you get those phone calls from people and they're saying, I want to buy your house or whatever, they're using, I forgot it's called auto something, because you can actually plug in the age group of people you're looking for, the gender.
Target.
Yeah, you can plug in all of that. You can plug in it all. Yes. Auto, what's it called? But you can just select. So when I get one of those postcards at my house, I'm 20 years older than my next door neighbors, right? They don't get it. So they've targeted me to say, hey, you a senior citizen, we want your house.
Oh, with those new commercials that say, we'll buy your house in any condition and blah, 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 blah.
Uh-huh. Those commercials, they got postcards coming out. You know, I was looking at the commercial with the black people on Dominion. Ain't no black folk owning no Dominion. They some white people. They got 2 black people on the commercial, but we'll buy your house and clean it out for you. What? Dominion been treating tenants bad in Baltimore City for a lot of years, okay?
And Baltimore allows them to do it.
And now, so they went from, well, you know, Baltimore City has tightened up restrictions on landlords, which I think aren't good, because it doesn't prevent people like Dominion from putting people out of their house, out of their residence for ground rent. They evict people for that. That's why I came to know who they are. And, you know, just things that they should do as a property management company and owner they should do. And they put tenants out for things that they're not capable of doing. So they don't have any laws for that. So can we recap the bike lanes?
Let's recap it.
Bike lanes are for people who they intend to live in your community. They're not for the people who live in the community, because people keep saying, I don't even see anybody in the bike lane. Yeah, because those are the people they want to come. Those are the people that they want to come in the city. Unfortunately, our black politicians don't realize that when we leave, you leave too. When we leave, when we get pushed out, nobody's going to vote for them. Nobody's going to vote for them. No one ever thought, and I'm not going to say it's a bad thing with Washington, D.C., but no one ever thought Washington, D.C. would lose its culture. But it has. It's lost its culture. It has.
Good boy.
April the 18th, the city will host the bike lane meeting, which is after the fact of them hosting one when they tried to exclude us. So it's going to be April the 18th at the Forest Park High School at 6 p.m. I hope you'll be there.
You're asking me to be there?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope you'll be there.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
How's the address?
So I'll see you on the 18th. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Well, Baltimore, it's been spoken by Professor Rhonda Wimbush that we expect you to be there on the 18th at Forest Park Senior High School. What's that address?
I have no idea, but it is on Bell Avenue and Bell and I don't know. Let me look it up real quick.
Is that Liberty?
Well, you're gonna be off of Liberty. You can't. That side street is a one-way street. I want to say it's. You know how it is when you live in Baltimore. You just know where stuff is. You may not. Oh, it's 3701 Eldorado Avenue.
There we go. 3701. All right, you have
Eldorado Avenue.
Yeah, Baltimore. You have your coordinates. 3701 Eldorado Avenue. Be there at 5:45. 5:45.
Yep, they're going to be there at 6 o'clock. We're going to do a bike lane study. We're going to do our own bike lane study. We've already started. We're going to do our own, because people should be able to voice their opinion. And the stakeholders' mission, we're going to have some resource information for you. Because a lot of people are struggling in their homes, and they're too proudful. They're too proudful to say, hey, I can't pay this BGE bill. There's the People's Council who can help people with disabilities and elderly people with that. People should know they can call someone.
Council. Wow.
The People's Council.
Wow. I never knew.
The People's Council. They've been around for a long time. They've been, a matter of fact, what I'll do is I'll send you one of their emails, huh?
That'll work because we all need some help sometime. My mother said that to me.
We all need help. We all need help. And guess what? When you use the resources that's available to you, you have more money in the bank for your emergencies. So often people are, they riding on a donut tire because they don't have any, you didn't have anything extra. Maybe if you did do energy assistance or weatherization or applied for some food stamps, maybe you would have had money for that tire.
Okay.
That's my
I don't know why you're fussing me out. It's okay.
But we just get so proudful. It's just amazing to me that we're so proudful, Oh, I get a tax credit. Yeah, but you need to appeal your tax. People, it's almost like we don't want to know.
You got to get off the pride.
So thank you for having me.
Always a pleasure classing up this program with wisdom and knowledge, which, says in a multitude of counsels there's safety. So at that note, we're going to say we'll see you on the 18th, all of Baltimore.
See you on the 18th. See you on the 18th.
Huh?
I said see you on the 18th.
Oh, yeah. See you on the 18th.
We have to start showing up. We just have to start showing up and saying, no, you're not going to come in our community and do whatever you want to do. You're not going to just come here and just do whatever you want to do because you intend to occupy our community one day.
Your mayor said it was his Baltimore. That's what he said before he ran, and he said it afterwards. So he thinks he can do whatever he wants to do with your community. Show me wrong.
Well, when is the last time we had a two-term mayor? It's been a long time, isn't it?
No one's been worthy.
Right. So why should he be a two-term mayor? Just because he knows how to run an election?
Fraud.
Why should he be a two-term mayor?
He's terrible. He doesn't know what he's doing. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm tired of the same old responses to every crisis that he.
Oh my God!
It's unacceptable. What's all with the head jerking? I still don't understand it.
And blaming everyone, everyone like a little crybaby.
I understand from a friend of mine that he had a town hall meeting, and he came to the town hall meeting. This might make you laugh here. Came to the town hall meeting carrying a puppy, and I said, "Wait a minute now. I'm sorry. Did you say the mayor came to the town hall meeting carrying a puppy?" She said exactly what I saw. And when she said, I'll say what she said. When I saw him carrying the puppy, I said he could not possibly be an alpha male. I said I thought that the people who carried puppies were like Thurston Howell and Lovey.
So he came to a town hall meeting carrying a puppy.
Yes.
Maybe that was his way of saying, "Be easy on me. I've got this little dog with me." Or maybe he just got it. It was,
maybe it was
be
a gift
easy on me.
Oh, hold on a second. Maybe it was a gift from BG&E or Exelon.
Right. Yeah, maybe they gave him a
for the conduit deal in advance.
Well, you know what? I hope whatever he got is more than what Jack Young got when he was in office, because I thought Jack Young would have left rich because of how many backdoor deals he did, and apparently he didn't. So, hopefully if Brandon leaves office and he took money from him, I hope it's some get-rich money. I hope it's some getting-out-of-here money. I hope it ain't no I still need a job money.
Well, don't sell out your community just for that.
Well, I think he's already proven that that's what he's going to do. That you can't, when the voters say, we don't want something, that should be respected.
Yes.
And he found a way around it and gave them a lease. He gave them a lifetime lease. So he went right around what the voters said, and did whatever he wanted. And I just hope people remember that. I'm hoping that the only thing that needs to get him out of office is that one thing right there. But he campaigning in the black community now. He talking about senior citizens now. Him and Nick Mosby both said that he called senior citizen legendary people. He said we were the problem. Now you all of a sudden the seniors are real important. Okay, now we important. Come on, man.
But which lie are you going to tell today? I'm going to get off the air before you get me in further trouble.
Bye, Pastor Steve. We've been talking for a long time. Bye, Pastor Steve. Talk to you later.
All right, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.